Yeah, you got to be on TV.
Sue's not going to be here. She asked me to read the financial report and a note to the people. Okay, this is the financial report on the Old Bethel Cemetery. The balance says 5109 was 1757.29. Cleaned off May of 2009, $300. Left the balance 1457.29. Made a collection of $405. That left the balance 1862.29. Cleaned off September 2009, $300. A balance of $1562.29. Miscellaneous deposits, I guess that was the late deposit, $40. Balance $1602.29. Cleaned off May 2010. Okay. $300 in here, that's that last clean-off. That left the balance of $1302.29. We have a certificate of deposit with a balance of $9603.93. The interest was paid $316.10, and the interest rate is 2.87%. The balance is $9603.93. Interest will be paid again $516.10. 2.87, as y'all know, that's good. If you get that now, I can put that. And that's the financial report. And I have a note here from Sue. The descendants, to the descendants of the loved one buried at Old Bethel Cemetery. Many years ago, J.C. and Annabelle LaVarsi determined that Old Bethel Cemetery needed to have some funds in order to keep up with mowing, upkeep, and so forth of the cemetery. They gathered contributions for this cause. The funds for Old Bethel Cemetery, which are now in a check account and a certificate of deposit, came directly from the efforts of J.C. and Annabelle LaVarsi, and the contributions given by many for the cause of keeping the cemetery mowed and general upkeep for years and generations. These monies were given solely for the purpose of keeping up the needs of the cemetery, not the needs of the church. These funds have paid for the cemetery mowing every spring and fall, May and September, and occasionally a special mowing when needed. This was generally when a funeral or interment was to be at the cemetery, so it would look nice. The funds are not growing, they're being depleted almost slowly. Foresight of J.C. and Annabelle LaVarsi that the cemetery would need maintenance in perpetuity, and we are thankful to them and to the many contributors. Without these funds, the cemetery would not be mown now, nor will it be mown for the many hundreds of years the cemetery will exist into the future. These funds are held in trust, and I have been keeping the financial records since Annabelle LaVarsi asked me to do this. However, I feel that I have been harassed by certain individuals. Therefore, I wish to resign as the authorized signer of these funds. I will be on vacation in the middle of the summer. After that, I would like to hand over the responsibility of keeping the financial records and as authorized signer to the appointed descendant. I appreciate all the trust that the descendants have shown me as authorized signer. These monies were complete as the donators authorized. These monies were spent completely as the donators authorized. The tombstones are each family's responsibility. It is important that these funds donated by individuals interested in keeping the cemetery mowed need only to be spent on the upkeep of the cemetery as agreed upon when the donations were given. It should not be spent on the church as it had its own money, and I have no knowledge of the money from the church, whether there are money left for it or not. The cemetery donations, although given when the church was alive and active, were separated from the church fund, as they were given by individuals interested in the cemetery upkeep, not in the church activities. If the monies are spent on the mowing and upkeep of the cemetery, this should last approximately another 15 years or so. Very little donations are received. cemetery will be there for many years more in the future. These funds should be used solely as J.C. and Annabelle LaVarsi and the contributors of these funds wish for the upkeep of the cemetery. Please vote for an appointed descendant to take over these funds, and I will be happy to relinquish this when I return my vacation in July. That's from Sue Robinson, and she's kept these records all this time. That's all she gave me. All I got to say about it is I think we need to start trying to get along and try to
Amen.
stop some of this.
And what was your name?
David Richards.
David. I thought so, but I wasn't sure.
We need to elect somebody to do this, but don't nominate me because I won't take it.
Well, I'll throw something into that. We need to have a group of people, I think. We need to have a committee or a board that makes decisions about how this money is to be spent.
Yeah.
And not leave it up to a king or a queen per se to make a decision individually. And everything she says is just what she says.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, everything she says, she's telling you the truth.
She's saying it. Well, now wait a minute. You know, you know, it may or may not be.
I've been going these pictures all the time. They're good, honest Christians.
I know, but we're getting down to legalities.
Well,
you know, what she says may or may not be true. My point is, the group, I think, needs to make a decision, whether I'm on it or not.
What group are you talking about?
Yeah.
Excuse me, it just meant I was talking.
I'm sorry.
I think the group, if we decide on a group, needs to make a decision on how the money should be spent, whether it be the church or whether it be the cemetery. This church.
The money that's already got here, it should go to the
Well, that's what she said.
Yeah, well, that's
That's what she said.
That's what it's been given to.
That's what she said. Well, and that may be true, but it may not be true. The people that donated it may have donated it for this historical site.
Well, I did.
Which, I know, which includes the cemetery and the church. This historical site, read that sign right over there, includes the church and the cemetery.
That was voted against too.
Well,
that wasn't approved, really. Because we had a meeting and we didn't vote that in, and then all at once it happened.
Well, I'm just
The historical marker?
How I feel really doesn't have to make any difference to any of you. I'm just saying I feel that a group should make a decision.
Yeah, the state approved it. They went through all the records, honey, and approved it.
Makes a decision.
If we start that, we need to start it off today.
Yes, ma'am, I agree.
Leave this alone for the taking of the cemetery, because that's what this was set up for. And we started taking up money for an arbor, and that got voted down. Part of this money is to build an arbor. We gave them the arbor.
Well, I've given several times, and I've gave the church and the cemetery. So, which is it? Is it both, or is it just for the cemetery?
Well, she don't know anything about it.
You do that money for the cemetery.
Well, first,
Right, exactly. I didn't either.
Wasn't ahead of it.
So we don't know for sure. We're just going by what Sue Robinson has said. That's all.
well, I really think that this is not a part of the cemetery. I think everybody would agree with that.
What is not a part of it?
The church, and this lot, it's not a part of the cemetery.
It's on cemetery land. It's on the same
But it's
land.
different.
Well, it's a separate entity. So the money for that,
Should be safe. That's all.
right,
That's all.
right.
That's all should be safe.
But the cemetery is not in dispute. We know what that is. It's cemetery, and funds have been given to it. And I've had a count with no money, very little donations. Most of mine, I paid to have the trees cut out here on my own. And I don't think the cemetery funds, there's people buried out here that gave into those funds. And their graves need to be taken care of first.
We need it. We
Over the
need it.
years.
We need it.
That, right,
In my opinion, they should stay together.
yeah.
You know, with the cemetery taking priority over it.
Cemetery should be separate.
Yes, ma'am.
I agree with it, 'cause I'm not interested in keeping us in
Should
those
be
churches.
separate.
I understand.
Well, you know, that's a good point, because just from what I'm hearing here, there needs to be two funds. And I don't have a problem with what you're talking about as far as 2 or 3 member board, you know, to
Do you have an input?
see and regulate those
No.
funds, but they are a county accountable to the descendants of the people in the cemetery, and those funds would be always kept totally separate. Church funds, cemetery funds. These are cemetery funds.
That's all we had.
It's very simple.
Well, and that's a point that we can carry on from now.
Right.
We can designate, you know, whether it be the church or the cemetery. And I'm talking about these funds that we
You're
have.
talking about the money.
Right.
I'm talking about the money that $9,000 she's got in the bank right now.
already
That's
been
from
given to the
contributions from the past. Should that be
That should
used for
always,
just the
that's
cemetery?
cemetery only, because I'm just like you. I have made contributions to both.
He has people buried here.
I have people buried here. I have my grandmother,
have-
grandfather,
We've been coming for
great-grandmother,
years.
great-grandfather. Hey, I have my opinion. I'm sorry, ma'am.
I'm not talking about, I'm saying that this is the first time I've ever seen you here.
Well, ma'am, you see those boards on that church window?
Yes.
I put all those boards on there and painted it. And I've been coming up here since 1970.
He has.
We
I
used
mean-
to come and clean it off every
Yeah.
Oh, I know
We
that.
all
We've all done a little bit from
Yeah.
time to time.
But what I'm saying
Me and
is,
my wife went to the bank and borrowed $2,000 to help put that roof on.
Right.
I had
I've got
all
roses
those, me and
planted
my
on
wife
my
had these
grandmother's
trees
grave right now
trimmed,
that we come up
$600.
We come up in water.
I built
Right.
these picnic tables. Barbara had these trees cut out here, cost us $300, I think it was.
You should be working together.
Donations all along. And we're gonna paint the church. We've got a man that says he will paint it if we will for $400 if we will furnish the paint.
Mm-hmm.
But it shouldn't be took out
But
of
it'll
this
have to
fund.
have 2 coats of paint put on.
I have no intentions of taking anything out of that fund.
Well, if
On
you
my
really
part.
think
Because
about,
that's really what
look
it's
at
for.
the group that's here. This group is the group that's normally here every year, right?
Yes, we need more people
Now
down
we
there.
got
all
world
have
of
descendants
them,
that
and they'll
come up here,
come.
and
They'll
if
want to
they
have a
wanna
big
paint that
deal
church
in
one
town,
Saturday,
but they won't spend a
church
damn
will be
penny
painted
out
one
here.
Saturday if you have enough volunteers. You have to hire nobody to do it.
Yeah, well,
And I want to bring something else up
Yeah.
down there.
well,
Our son got killed in a car accident and was buried down here. And we was disabled and didn't get down here for a few days. And they got 2 graves right side by side there where we can't see nobody else buried by him.
so somebody needs to be whoever is elected needs to be notified so they
This
can
shouldn't
stop
have never
that.
happened.
I agree.
That's
And you
my
know,
brother that was
That shouldn't have
there,
never
but
happened.
they said any place that was vacant up there.
and that is,
Well-
you know, that's a good point.
And the
right
undertaker-
there. I agree with you there.
Undertaker talked like somebody gave him permission to be buried.
Right.
Right.
But state law, they should know that a man, you leave a
That's
place
correct.
for
There
the wife.
should be one person that somebody would have to contact
Right.
before they bury anybody else. Because there is also some married into the Cooper family that's buried almost on my brother that's down there. There wasn't even really room.
There's some trees
Right.
down there growing up all around it. I believe it's Cooper.
Yes.
And why ain't they cut down,
They're all
cleaned
dead.
up?
Their
That's-
descendants are all dead.
That could have been
Yeah,
done.
yeah,
Bill and Robinson and I cut trees ourselves down there.
right.
They sure are. They're dead.
But we made up enough money to put that fence around it because we couldn't get nothing else done. And the wild hogs was coming in and
Yep. I remember fixing
And I
that
believe
fence.
there was 10 loads of brush
No, from what
hauled
we
out.
discussed,
we just, all we want is to see that everything is carried off in order.
Right,
That's exactly right. I think we all agree with that.
Everything.
I think so too.
Now, as far as the mowing from the marker there, that property belongs to us from that marker out there.
But they seen
And we'd be glad to mow it there.
My
We
grandmother's seen me here.
did,
That's
so I got kind of disabled.
Right.
And
I'm sure my grandmother.
Mr. Harrington here has brought his mower up here
Well,
a time or two.